So, welcome everybody to the Trolling Night. It's a real pleasure to be back after so much time. You know, it's a real gift when you realize that you when we left for Pesach we weren't here, so we come back and we see, oh wow, we have a really nice group. Without Hashem, we continue and continue. This week's Parashat is Parashat Shemini. Okay, Parashat starts off with Vayi, Vayom, and Shemini. And it was on the 8th day. Okay? Now, this 8th day is a very special day. Why is the 8th day a very special day? So they say that this day was the first of Nisan. The first day of Nisan, which was the day that there was the Kamat Mishkan. The day that the Mishkan was finally in progress. Was finally working. Was finally not in progress, sorry, but it was finally done. And it was the day that Moshe Rabbeinu was told to step out. To step out. There was 7 days where Moshe Rabbeinu was working as the Kohen Gadol. He was really like doing the Ketubot, and he's doing the whole avodah of the Kohen Gadol. And at the last day, when it finally comes the day where we inaugurate the Mishkan, so now Moshe Rabbeinu was told, okay, now it's done. You finished your 7 days. Now it's Aaron HaKohen, your brother is going to come in. And we know, I think we spoke about this last time, but we're just going to refresh. And we know why Moshe Rabbeinu did that. Why Hashem did that to Moshe Rabbeinu. It's because when Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, go to Paro, take my people out, be the messenger to take the Jews out of Egypt, what did Moshe Rabbeinu say? No, don't take me, shlach nabi tishlach. Send with who you usually send. And Aaron HaKohen was really already a Navi before Moshe Rabbeinu, because he was older, and they were tzaddikim in Moshe Rabbeinu's family, from Amram, from Miriam and Leviah, you know, the whole family, they were all tzaddikim. And Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, no, don't take me. He wants to be Anav. And we see from this a big lesson. However, he was punished. He says, you didn't want to be. So he said, what did Moshe Rabbeinu say? Take my brother, he's older than me. So Hashem said, oh, you're worried about your brother? Okay, don't worry. Gam achicha gadol, what he's going to be? He's going to be the Kohen Gadol. Don't worry, I'm going to give him his part. He's going to be his part. But if not for that statement, Moshe Rabbeinu would have got the leader of Klal Yisrael together with the Kohen Gadol. And now, what does Hashem tell him? Go work in this Beit HaMikdash for 7 days, train and become the Kohen Gadol. But on the day that it really matters if you're a Kohen Gadol or not, the day that starts the avodah of the Beit HaMikdash, he says, Moshe Rabbeinu, now you can step out. Aaron HaKohen is going to take your place. Now, Aaron HaKohen, what happens on this day is Aaron HaKohen comes and he's scared. Aaron HaKohen is scared. Why is Aaron HaKohen scared? Because he did the Egel Azav. And every time he was coming towards the Mizbeach, there was like a sort of an ox or a sort of a calf coming out of the Mizbeach, and he was getting afraid because he remembers we know what Aaron HaKohen did, right? He's the one that said, okay, by the way, by the Har Sinai, when Moshe Rabbeinu didn't come down yet, they were saying what's going to be. Moshe Rabbeinu's dead, he's alive, we don't know, confusion, this, that. They didn't want to wait till they get everything cleared out. So they wanted to make an Egel Azav. Why? To get more guidance. To get guidance. Instead of Moshe Rabbeinu was here before. We used to have clear guidance. Now we're confused. We don't know if Moshe Rabbeinu is coming down. According to their calculation, Moshe Rabbeinu should have been down already, but he didn't come. So he said it must be that he's dead. The people.
De stall the times.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, he says, give me the stuff, and we'll make an Egel Azav. So Aaron HaKohen, he did something less. Meaning he did the Egel Azav, but not with the intention of the Avodah Zarah. However, the nation wanted an intention of Avodah Zarah, even though that they wanted, maybe they had a good intention behind it. Still, they wanted the Avodah Zarah to be their guide. And they, therefore, the Bnei Israel did more of a ched than Aaron HaKohen. Aaron did only the action of doing it, but he didn't really want to inside. But the Bnei Israel also wanted to do it. So therefore, in this week's parasha, there's 2 sets of korbanot. In this Yom HaShmini, a huge day. The day that according to Rashi, not according to the Ramban, but according to the Rashi, that the Mishkan came to be mechaper, to be the atonement for the Egel Azav, because before that, there was no reason to make the Mishkan. So, because if they didn't make the Egel Azav, they would have just finished their tikkun, received the Torah, and that's it. It would have been done. They would have done the tikkun of Adam HaRishon. However, there was one mistake they did. They did what? They didn't wait just until Moshe Rabbeinu came down. They didn't have just the patience. Adam HaRishon also didn't have the patience. To what? To not eat from the Eitz Hadat. If Adam HaRishon would have given a few moments, he would have entered Shabbat, And that's it. It would have been already in the tikkun of the world. The tikkun of the world is beautiful. There's receiving the Pnei Shechina, and then after that the Olam Haba. It's beautiful. However, for one moment, Adam HaRishon didn't wait till the end of Shabbat. Didn't wait till the end of where Shabbat would have came in and would be there. Same mistake as what? The same mistake that was done by the Har Sinai. And also in this week's Parashat you see a similar mistake, and we'll see. We'll try to open it. But the point is, what happened Yom HaShmini? The Yom HaShmini was the day of where Hashem is going to say, I accept you fully. Because if Hashem accepts, how does Hashem accept? We know there's a story by Eliyahu Navi. In the times of Eliyahu Navi, there were Jews that were going after Baal, the Avodah Zarah called Baal, the idolatry at the time. And Eliyahu Navi said, listen, there's no such thing. You can't go to shul, and you can't go to the Avodah Zarah at the same time. You can't go to church and go to shul at the same time. And they were doing that. So Eliyahu Navi said like this, listen, and usually there's no Mishkan, then there's no temple, we can't make an altar, we can't make a mizbeach. However, since it was a time where it needed to be proven something, so therefore Eliyahu Navi made an altar. And there was the Nevi Abal, there was the idolatry, that they made their altar, and there was Eliyahu Navi that made his altar. And Eliyahu Navi said like this, if it's true that it's the Baal, then Hashem is going to come down and he's going to burn their sacrifice. If it's true that idolatry is right, then there's going to be a fire coming down from the sky. And if it's true the how do you say it? Hashem is true. If Hashem is true, then on my side there's going to be the ish. There's going to be the fire coming down. And what happened? These goyim, what did they do? They made a mizbeach, a hollow mizbeach, not something solid. So they put a guy sneaked inside it, under, and he wanted to light the match so that just in case the fire doesn't come down, he's going to be the one to light up the fire. And fair enough, there was a snake that bit him. And what happened at the end is that the fire came down and burnt the whole thing. The mizbeach, the Eliyahu Navi, the fire came down, burnt the sacrifice, burnt the mizbeach, burnt everything, and there was nothing left. Just to show the point that Eliyahu Navi was right. But Eliyahu Navi told him like this, two things. He says one thing. Until when you're going to jump, until when are you going to jump from one street to the next? You can't go on two streets. You can't go on the fork and say, I want to go here and go there. It's either one or the other. You can't go to church and the shul. You can't go to club and the chol night. You can't do both. It doesn't work. You have to be consistent. And that was in the Navi's. If it's true, he said, if it's true that the Baal is correct, then you go with the Baal. If it's true that Hashem is correct, then go with Hashem. But don't do both. That's one mistake. And Eliyahu Navi made something that's usually asur. He made a mizbeach, which usually you're not allowed to do, to prove this point. That's how important this point is of making the harmony in a person, about not having a contradiction inside the person. And you see in this week's Parashat what happens. That's why, first of all, I say Vayi b'Yom HaShmini. B'Yom HaShmini, what's this day? This huge day of Yom HaShmini. It's the day Hashem comes down and it's his simcha. It's the ultimate simcha for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because finally he's able to rest and complete this plan of creation. Hashem wants to come down and reside upon the Bnei Israel. And over here, by doing the avodah of the korbanot, which was a specific work, the specific avodah for the Yom HaShmini, which was Aaron HaKohen had to bring a calf, and the Bnei Israel had to bring also a calf and a few others of the korbanot. The point is that they had to bring the calf in order for them to be accepted to Hashem, in order to say finally that there was an atonement. Hashem forgave them fully, and that was the day of Yom HaShmini. But why Vayihi? So why was it a sad day? Vayihi usually means Vayihi b'Achashverosh in the times of Achashverosh, and it was in the times. Vayihi means and it was, but it means you could say Vehaya, and it was, and it will be, or and it was. Vaya Hashem echad shmu echad. It's lashon of simcha, and Vayihi is lashon of sadness, of tzar. So why in the Yom HaShmini we're supposed to be where Hashem comes down, finally shows His greatness, and finally we're eating at like His simcha, His big chatuna, His big marriage, so to speak, with the Bnei Israel? Why is it Vayihi? Why is it a sad day? So we all know what happened that day. Who knows what happened by Yom HaShmini? We all know what happened. Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron HaKohen, and they brought Ish Zara. They brought a fire that was not a strange fire. Meaning what? It says the Or HaChaim like this. It's brought down that they brought their own fire. Usually how it works is that the fire comes down, like we saw by Eliyahu Navi. The fire, Hashem comes and he brings the fire down. And therefore, that shows that Hashem accepts the korban, accepts the sacrifice. However, over here, the fire was not coming down. The fire was not coming down. So Nadav Avihu said, one second, this is a busha. This is a busha. We have to go and fix the situation. The fire has to come down. Why wasn't the fire coming down? Why do you think the fire wasn't coming down?
Because they weren't pure.
Because there was an acceptance, but there's also a tikkun. There was also a tikkun to do. What was the tikkun? To see if they really trust Hashem. Because imagine they've been working, they've been giving their money, they've been investing their entire lives. They got intelligence to be the architect and all this we spoke about last time. To be the architects and the engineers, to how to build the Mishkan. These people were working with sand and blocks their entire lives. What they're going to start making these professional curtains that had these details and the keruvim that were made and the menorah and all that, which things that Hashem had to do because they were so complicated. All this effort that they put in, and then we want to see that Hashem enjoys our effort. And same thing we do with our lives. We come to shul, we do efforts and this and that. Sometimes we don't have the acceptance. We don't see Hashem loves us. Where's the kedusha? Where's the simcha? Where's the I love Hashem? Where's this vibe? Where's this energy? Sometimes it doesn't come, but that's a test. And therefore, Hashem, what did He do? He needed to make a test. Like they have to make a tikkun. What was the tikkun? To wait. To see, 1 second, maybe to have this question and do tshuva, because every time we're in question, it's time we have to rethink. 1 second, why is it not Hashem accepting me? What am I doing wrong? Why am I doing this? And that's what happened in Shemini, the day of the Simcha, where Hashem said, yeah, Shemini is going to be the day. It's going to be the final time I'm going to come. You're going to see me. It's going to be the atonement. It's going to be the Simcha you've never seen before. There was no fire. Nadav Avihu said, 1 second, there's no fire. We have to make the fire. So they took their ketoret. And they brought it in and they put their little, their big lighter over there, and they put the fire. And Hashem burned them on the spot, and they were finished. And by the way, Nadav Avihu, we said last time also that by Sinai they also went a little bit higher than they were supposed to. So that was, Hashem said, they were supposed to die for that reason. But then they died at Yom HaShemini. Why? For the same kind of reason. I'm going to explain. Esh Zara, if you take that word, okay? The first letter is Aleph. Some people say the reason why the Nadav Avihu were killed is because they didn't get married. Isha. For the Aleph it's Isha. Because they did not get married, and that's why they were so. The Zohar says that they were higher even than Moshe and Aaron, Nadav Avihu. That's why it says Bikuva Kadesh. My beloved ones, my close ones, I'm going to make myself sanctify, meaning I'm going to show my presence, because through the fact that Hashem is even paying back tzaddikim, it shows the definite justice that Hashem has, that He doesn't have pity on certain people. And Bikuva, it said that with the close ones. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, now I see that they're greater than us. Why? Because they're called Kruvim. Hashem revealed Himself and said, these people are my Kruvim. But they did a small mistake which showed that they were big, because it was a tiny mistake. They wanted to come and do a Kiddush Hashem, not a Chilul Hashem. And Hashem said, no, it's not the time. And the same you can say even for by the Har Sinai, when they wanted the Eged. They wanted a guidance. However, it was a miscalculation. They had to have patience till Moshe Rabbeinu, reveal himself finally to come down. And by Adam HaRishon also, he wanted that he should get the Yetzer Hara inside him in order to make Hashem great in the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara. But these are all personal calculations that go a little bit against with Hashem. But Hashem at the day, if you make a mitzvah, you make an avera, there's something to do with the avera, and there's even a kiddush Hashem that could come out of it, which that's the track that Adam HaRishon showed. We can speak about that another time. But the point over here is that Nadav Avihu, they weren't married, so they were kilu, they didn't get engaged, they didn't get involved with women, so they, or in a certain sense, they were a little bit higher. It's another discussion for another time. So they didn't get married. That was one of the mistakes, because when you get married, you have a certain maturity that comes with it, a certain standpoint. You can get a different mind from it, and that's one of the mistakes. You have to get married. There's another topic about that. But the point is, Shin. What's the Shin? Shtu yayin. Some people said they came in drunk. They came and they drank some wine, and that was the second mistake. Zara. Zayin. What's Zayin? Zera. They didn't have kids. It's also a problem. You have to have kids. That's part of what the Torah wants from you. And Resh. They didn't do Rechitza. They didn't wash their hands and feet like you're supposed to in order to get Kadosh. You have to do that. And finally, Hey. Hora halacha bifnei rabban. They said a halacha in front of the rabbis, meaning to say that they said, one second, they took the halacha in their own hands and they said, we're going to go and we're going to try to save the day. And they went behind Moshe and Aaron's back. So that was their mistake. And you see from here a very interesting point. And what happened? Once Hashem killed them, what did it say by Aaron HaKohen? Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was silent. He didn't ask any questions. Okay. This is what happened in Yom HaShmini. We have the simcha of Yom HaShmini, we have the tzar of Yom HaShmini, we have the happiness, we have the sadness. Now we have to understand what is all this comes to teach us. The point that we have to see from here, we'll start with Nadav Avihu. Nadav Avihu, there's a lesson to be learned why they finally died. It's because when there's Kedusha, when there is a level of Avodat Hashem that we have to approach, you can't be midga'eh. You can't say, one second, I'm going to go, I'm going to be better. I'm going to, in a sense, I'm not going to be haughty, I'm not going to be arrogant. I'm not going to take my own calculation and put it in front of the calculation of Hashem. And this is what they did. They treated the Kedusha with how do you say this? With zilzul, with disgrace. They didn't wash their hands before. They came in drunk. They brought in their own fire instead of waiting for the fire of Hashem to come. Meaning that they thought that they were better than the law. But that's not right. What you have to do is you have to have patience, because that was a test. They had to have the reason why the fire didn't come down is that because they had to do their tshuva that comes through that, and then Hashem was going to bring down the fire. Like happened by Eliyahu Navi, and like happened for the rest of the time in the Beit HaMikdash. But also you see on the other hand, there's another story that happened with Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen wanted to come close to the Mizbeach, and he couldn't. He said, it's not for me. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, go back. Hashem wants you to do the Avodah now. Because we said Moshe Rabbeinu was kicked out after the 7th day. On the 8th day, Hashem said, go tell Aaron to take the Egel Ben Bakar, to take the calf and to do the Avodah. And Aaron said, I can't do it. I did the Egel. How am I going to go? He couldn't feel. That's the opposite of a Nadav Avihu. That's the opposite. The opposite is that when there's Avodah, there's a huge, one of the biggest things that could be in the world. The fact that Hashem is coming down and saying, I'm atoning you for the Egel Azav. Aaron said, I'm the one chosen for this huge, magnificent, beautiful, it can't be me. And that's the approach we have to have. We have to have the approach that when there's something great, you have to approach it with respect. Why did Aaron feel that way? Because he said, this is huge and I'm small compared to that. That's the approach. The Kedusha has to be seen as something that's huge, something that's big. And that's coherence. That means that you're in tune with the Kedusha, you're in tune with what Hashem wants from you. You're in tune with the Avodah, with the work that's placed in front of you. Because you realize that it's great. And when Aaron said, I can't be the one, Moshe says, you know what? You're acting like this. Bosh, you're embarrassed. For this reason you were chosen to do the Avodah. And Nadav Avihu on the other side said, this is the job. What's the problem? Let's just bring on va faire la salade cuite and we're going to bring it. Not to say zizur, but the point is, on va amener notre ketoret. We're going to do the fires. What's the big deal? No, it's a huge deal. When you can't just approach it like that, can you just take, you can't just do that. And you think you're better, you're not married, you think you're better than the rest of the tzaddikim that have to get married, you don't have kids. Though you see from Nadav Avihu this point, that didn't approach the Kedusha with respect. And Aaron, on the other hand, he approached not only that, when the fire didn't come down, Aaron came to Moshe Rabbeinu and he said, Moshe, you told me to go, but what am I going to do? I didn't want to go in the beginning. So I went, I had to fight myself. I went, I brought the korbanot, the fire didn't come down. So what did they do, Moshe and Aaron? They prayed there. They stood there by the one wood and they prayed together until the fire came down. And meanwhile, all this, the fire, that the Nadav Avihu came in and they brought their own fire at the same time. And on that day, Aaron HaKohen he's hit with his kids that died on that day. Aaron HaKohen says, oh my gosh, this is complete. How can that be? And Aaron HaKohen, he didn't really do the Avirah of the Egel Azav, right? Aaron HaKohen, he just did the physical calf. But the Bnei Yisrael were the ones that wanted to do the Egel for the purpose of Avodah Zarah. So Aaron HaKohen, he didn't say, oh, you know what, the fire is not coming down. It's because of the Bnei Yisrael. It's because they didn't do they had too much bad intention and Hashem doesn't want to forgive them. He said, he put it on him. He says, you see, it's my fault. I wasn't supposed to be the one that brought the korban. And that's the way we have to look at the Avodat Hashem, the Kedusha. It's something that's special, something that we have to have respect to. We can't just treat it like this. The way that we can get there, the way we can get to the Kedusha to see that it's really true and really something that's holy and really something that we have to respect, is if we're complete with it. If we're not, if we think that we're better, if we think that we could do two things at the same time, if we think we can go to the church and we can go to the shul at the same time, then we're saying, oh, the kedusha is not so great at that. I can go to the shul, and even though I come with the garbage from outside, I bring it inside. And then at the end of the day, you can't do that. You're not treating the kedusha with respect. You're saying that I'm better than the law. That's what Eliyahu Navi said. Lechu acharav. Don't go. You're disrespecting God by saying, God, I'm going to be here one day and be there. Then one day you say, God, ciao. It doesn't fit. You can't do that. So that's why Eliyahu Navi said, I have to make a point out of this. This is the bad. This is the mizbeach that we have to do. And I'm not saying that we have to jump 1 second and say, let's say Hashem wa Elokim, and we have to forget the clubs, and we have to forget everything. The clubs is important, no, I'm joking. The point is we have to know where we are, and then we can grow. We have to be coherent, we have to listen to ourselves, and then we can start to the path. But just the point, it's just to have the point. I'm not trying to hate anyone. I'm not trying to say it's bad. I'm trying to say that we have a job to do. There's an avodah. There's a work that has to be done. And the way that we should maybe have in mind is that if we look at, the more we can see the kedusha inside the avodat Hashem and the importance of it, the more we'll realize that whatever is not the kedusha, then we can, disconnect, because we have something that's much, much greater than that. So without Hashem, it's just something to have in mind to help us and to build respect for the kedusha, just to show that Aaron HaKohen, the tzaddik, one of the tzaddikim of the whole generation, he himself said that I wasn't worthy, and his sons said, yeah, you know what, we're worthy. Aaron HaKohen is here, it's the father, look, he should, he should act that way, he's much greater. No, the greater you are, the more sensitivity you have to do kedusha. That's the point. It's not the greater you are, so the greater kedusha, you can just say, oh, the kedusha is mine, that's it, me and God, we're buddies. No. The greater you are, you see how much God is greater. That's what makes you greater. The fact that you see Hashem, you understand that He's so great, that means you became great. It means that, wait, He's so great, I have to be more on that, I have to be more humble. There's something huge, there's something that's not even fathomable, not explainable. So without Hashem, these are the lessons that I thought that were important to see from this week's Parashat. I'm talking to myself, it's really not simple to be coherent in Avodat Hashem. It's something that's really difficult. Sometimes you don't want to wake up for Shacharit, like, what do you mean? It's important. You wake up, everybody, we all have to take chizuk in our own thing. We can't say, oh, it's all this message for him, that message. No, it's for us, even for me. Everything that I speak about, I should be on the level, but it's something that's difficult. But what we can do is, when we see the messages from the Torah, is to take example and Hashem become greater and greater.